Hello Linux lovers, my name's Wimpy, welcome to my world. If you're watching this on YouTube after the fact, this was originally recorded live on twitch.tv/Wimpy's World, so if you want to join in interactively, do come over there and give us a follow. Hello everyone, good morning, how you all doing? So this is going to be a continuation of what I was working on the other evening with the GPD Pocket 3. We've made excellent progress on that so far. I'll summarise that in just a moment. Hello Yannick, good morning. And also hello to Takov and Luke and King Egypt. Happy New Year to you as well. Welcome back everyone. Thanks for the comments, Luke. That's very inviting. I like your style. So, just to recap very quickly, GPD sent me their GPD Pocket 3 handheld PC, and here it is here. I did a stream the other evening. It was about 3 hours where we did the initial enablement for Ubuntu MATE on this device. And where we left that stream, we had a couple of unresolved issues, the most significant of which was suspend and resume. So I'm going to touch on that today. And interestingly, that suspend and resume fix, which isn't quite out yet, could mean that we might want to make an Ubuntu MATE 2004 image for this device. Because the kernel fix that's coming may only make it to 2004 until 2204 is available. I need to speak to my friends at Canonical to find out if the patch is going to land in what we're working on at the moment, which is the 2110 image. So if we can get the Wi-Fi working on 2004, that potentially gives us a way to enable this device with 2004 with suspend resume fixes. Grub rotating, I just remember this is a big problem. I'm going to put that on the back burner. But the sound fixes look good. So I just move over here and we'll just have a look at my code editor, because somewhere in here I've been making some notes. So what I've discovered is that the microcode that's used to initialize the wireless device is this. So what I'm going to try and do is a janky little workaround to boot the 2110 image extract that microcode, and then install 2004, drop that microcode in and see if Wi-Fi magically starts working. I think there's a 50-50 chance it may be a solution, and if that works then we can integrate that into our 2004 build. With regards to suspend resume, I did some hunting around and I found that there was a patch from sort of late last year to the kernel. So if we just bring up a browser, we can take a quick squiz at that. Oh, I've left other things up and running. That's not helpful. I'll go and deal with that in just a moment. So this is the patch. So digging around, oh, he says, there we go. This is the patch that I think is going to fix suspend resume. And actually, suspend and resume works. What doesn't work is the display is left in a powered down state when the device is resumed, and this fixes it. It looks like it fixes it for this chip type. So that's the longer term proper fix for suspend and resume, and there is a half workaround available, which I'm now struggling to see where I deposited the code at. Oh, here it is. Which is you can pass this kernel parameter to change the well, that's a typo there, to change the state that it will sleep in, so S2 rather than S3. That doesn't entirely power down everything, so there are, you know, bits of the device that are effectively left in like a quiescent state. So it's not a super aggressive power saving state, but it does mean that you can, you know, close the lid and open it and it will function. The screen will come back to life. So I think for my current testing purposes, I'm going to go with this as a quick workaround, just to stop me getting in the position where my only option is to hard reset the device if I accidentally forget and close the lid. So those are things that I've learned about, like the continued sort of fixing and improvement of this. I also noticed that the trackpad supports some scroll wheel emulation with the 2-finger up-down gesture. So my workaround, my configuration to enable that with a single, with holding down the middle mouse button and doing a single finger motion is kind of pointless. So I'm going to remove that from this device's hardware configuration because that's unnecessary. So I think we'll turn this on. I think I left this in a state where 2110 was installed, and the other interesting thing is that I was using another power supply during the stream the other evening, which wasn't adequate to actually charge this device. So the whole time we were on stream, which was 3 hours, this device was powered with the shipping charge that came in the battery, which was pretty decent. So, and I worked on it for several hours afterwards as well. So that 82% charge that it came with lasted a good sort of 5 hours, which was quite impressive. I have now plugged the right charger in that came with the device, and this gives us, well, it's fully charged, but I'm not going to plug it into the power today. So we'll do what we were doing. I'm just going to, I'll plug in the HDMI again. So just like we were the other day, we'll get the, see if we can get the second screen up, because that was super handy. So if we go here, yeah, that's what we expect. So I'll just log in to this, and then we'll just move the displays around so that they don't overlap. I'm going to make that mistake where I keep grabbing the wrong device. So here's the display configuration, and if we just do that and hit apply, we should now end up with two devices that don't overlap, and what we'll do, displays rather, and what we'll do is apply that system wide. So hopefully the display manager is also neatly arranged. So we'll go with that. Keep this configuration. Oh. And now what we'll do is we'll just go and take a look and see if we can see that firmware. So let's just make the font a bit bigger here. Oh, is it lib firmware? Hang on a minute. Where did I suspect that was going to be user lib firmware? Yeah, I thought so. I haven't actually looked. I've just been Googling around to find these references for firmware. Ah, there we go. So there's a bunch in there. And what is it we're looking for? So IWL TYA0. TYA0. Okay, let's see if we can find that. Oh, yeah, the minus key's in a slightly unusual position, so every time I go to type that, my brain just stops for a moment. That said, I've been working on this device quite happily. I'm very impressed with the keyboard on this one. I'm just going to get rid of a dialogue that's popped up on the other display. There we go. So, was it AY? No. TY. There we go. So, there are several. Let's just look at all of those. Let's try that again. Oh, where is it? There. Okay. So, 62, 63, 66. So, which was it that we identified? It was 63. Okay. So, A063. So, we will take that file, A063, and we will not do that. We will SCP this. SCP to my machine as a holding spot. Let's think now. We don't have all of the... Oh, I haven't actually... Have I enabled Wi-Fi? Yes, Wi-Fi is currently enabled on this. So let's try that again. Oh, I've got everything wrong there. Let's try that. There we go. 192. That should be the right machine, I think. Yes. Yes. So that hopefully is sufficient. And I also see there's that non-volatile reference. Now I wonder if that we need as well. We'll take it just in case. But I don't think that will be necessary. I'm guessing that that has been around for a while. So we'll just copy that file over as well. I don't expect to need to use that one. Right then. Okay, so we'll copy those in place. So I see there's been a couple of comments, so let's just flip over here. So King Egypt says this is the first one that they haven't funded. You feel rich already. Congratulations on your self-control. And what's the round thing to the right of my Stream Deck? Oh, it's very straightforward. That's just the lens cap for the camera. Copy all of them. Yeah, no, not all of them. Not all of them, Takov. Right then, so that's copied over. So I think what we'll do now is I've got my USB drive here. We did make a 2004 image. I may have deleted it actually. So let's go and see if I kept a 2004 image around. And if not, we'll generate one of those quickly. So let's just No, I threw it away. So we'll regenerate that then. GPD Pocket 3 2004. So what this script does is, if you didn't see the stream the other evening, it unpacks the ISO, injects the configuration to do the necessary, hardware augmentations, and then repacks the SquashFS file system that exists within that ISO image, and then regenerates the ISO image around that SquashFS. So the config changes have been made already, and it's now creating a new SquashFS file system that goes on there, which is the live media that you can boot on the ISO, and then it will generate an ISO image, and then we'll stick that on a USB drive, which I will plug in now. So I want to do this bit because I think at this point, barring choosing which way to go with regards to the suspend and resume fix, I'm fairly confident that that's going to land in a kernel update in 2110, which is what I would prefer, but we're hedging in case we need to do this on 2004. So goodness, Magius, is that using 64 processors? What a beast of a system is this? Yeah, so you spotted that when SquashFS was running. What's the best way I can demonstrate that? I think this way here. Let's do this. So if we do... well, no, let's do this. Let's do this. About this computer, and then drop that down here somewhere. There we go. This is the system that I'm running on. So it's a 3970 Threadripper with an RTX 3090. So there, that's the basic system. Well, the essential system details there. And that's one of the reasons why, I have a system like this so that I can generate images, container image, virtual machine images, OS images. It's something that I do a lot for my work. So having a system that can just pump those out very trivially is advantageous. So we've generated the ISO. I did notice a slight issue with the ISO generation. I'm not going to fix right now. It's minor. It's not a showstopper, but something I'm going to fix at some point. My plan is to get an image that can be downloaded this week, and then I'm also going to respin all of the images for the rest of the GPD family. So I'm going to get each of those out on a stream and generate a new image for each of those as well. So if we just pick up the image that we made there, it should be here. There it is. So we'll open that with the image writer, and we'll drop that on our GTX. And this should not take very long. Okay, so let's have a look. Yeah, so Luke makes the point, create images and stream at the same time. Yes, there is an element of that. I was into streaming when I got this machine, and it was a consideration. More so, one of the reasons I got Threadripper was the amount of PCI lanes that become available. So it means that it's possible in this machine to have a GPU on 16 lanes and have an add-in board for the NVMe RAID array. So there's a 17 terabyte NVMe striped array, which is on an add-in board. That obviously requires another 16 PCI lanes, 4 for each of the NVMe drives in that array. And then there's a quad capture HDMI card in there that requires another, I think, 4 PCI lanes, and there's other stuff in there as well, obviously hanging off the rest of the board. So the choice for going Threadripper was really really to do with having enough PCI lanes to do everything I wanted to do. Good morning, Wendy. Welcome back. Happy New Year to you. Haven't seen you for a while. You well? Yeah, not exactly cheap hardware. This was a Bitcoin purchase, this machine, Takov. Right, okay, so that image is written out. So these are attainable, good performance. If you're not familiar with the Corsair GTX USB drives, these are mega quick. They're amazing. I absolutely love them. I think I usually buy like one a month at the moment because I'm worried about the day when they don't become available, but they are. This is another piece in the speeding up the turnaround time of working with images, is how quickly can you write a 3.5 gig image to a USB stick, and as you saw, it doesn't take very long on these at all. So again, it's another time saver. Right, so I've plugged that into the machine. So this is a tail with the USB drive on the end. So we'll reboot and we'll install this Ubuntu 20.04 image, which we fully expect will have broken Wi-Fi, and then we'll manually copy over that firmware and see if it works. Because when I briefly tested 20.04 on this the other evening, everything else did seem to be working, which was good. So Takov says you just had a nerd jam listening to the hardware specs. Yeah, I'm very happy with this machine. Although the machine I have in the other office, which hopefully I'm going to get back to later this week, I really like that machine. Small form factor. The 3080 Ti is a great option if you've someone with a 3090 who now loads up a 3090. The 3080 is a very comparable card. I know GPU pricing and availability, all that nonsense at the moment. But oh, I forgot to let me just concentrate on booting this with the USB drive. But I really like that system. It's like it was designed to be like a baby of this, and I'm very happy with how it turned out. So we'll mash the there we go, and now we'll boot off the USB. So here you can see the that's interesting. That was actually an improvement, believe it or not. Okay. We don't want to bother with the disk checks. Let's just get that out of the way. Okay. Let's switch to here, and we should have, yeah, albeit offset, we have another display. So let's just move the displays in a sensible orientation. Let's drag this over here. So you can see by default the displays are slightly offset, and I've not quite figured out why that is, why they don't align neatly. Something for another day, that's a general issue. So we'll close that, and then we'll start an install, and we'll bring the installer window over to the so the sound fixes, although this is enabling the legacy mode for the chip, I am confident that this is the right solution for this chipset. I looked back and spoke to one of my colleagues, ex-colleagues at Canonical, from the enablement team in Taipei, because I worked on similar chipsets for devices with Dell, HP, and Lenovo. Well, and actually, it wasn't HP; it was just Dell and Lenovo. And we had done the work in Ubuntu to enable this device in this particular way, and it's a combination of kernel updates and also updates to Pulse Audio in order to make all of this work. So enabling the legacy mode in the way that it's available in Ubuntu is actually the right way to enable the sound on this device. So I'm pretty happy with that, and I won't be changing that until maybe a future date when the Sound Open firmware stuff is properly supported for this chipset. So we'll run through an install quickly. My password is test, by the way. Right then, there we go. Let's get that going. Right, whilst that's going, I noticed that Mindy had posted a comment. So happy New Year. Yeah. All well. Oh, good. I'm pleased to hear that. For some reason, my Twitch notification, I've stopped working on my Android phone. Interesting. I noticed when I moved from Android to iPhone that suddenly notifications like worked properly everywhere again. So yeah. So thanks for stopping by. It's good to see you again. Right then. I can't actually see what's going on whilst I'm on this screen, so I'll move over here so I can keep almost finished copying files. It says okay. So we'll let that run. So what else do we have to do on this device? I think in terms of the hardware enablement, it's really this suspend resume is like the most important final piece to get right. Following that, the next thing I'm going to be doing, and I'm not sure when yet, it might be later today, but if not tomorrow, definitely on Wednesday though, I really want to take a look at that KVM module. So if you saw the stream the other day, you'll see that this comes with, it has a modular, well, I say a modular design. It has a module, which is interchangeable. So if I just tip the device up like so whilst it's doing the install, go to the overhead view. So on the back of the device, there is this spot here, and you can see there's two crosshead screws, and this is a USB 3 port which can be removed. And they sent over an RS232 port which can go in here, but more interestingly, a KVM module, which is HDMI in and USB-C in, and that's so you could take this to the data center and plug your KVM console into it and send the screen to the screen on this device, and then use the keyboard and trackpad on this device to control other things. So I think this is really interesting because I'm not going to go to a data center anytime soon because I don't do that anymore. I did used to a lot. But I think it'll be interesting from a live streaming point of view. This could be an on-the-road, live streaming device. You could use this as the streaming device and then have like a low-powered, say, a Raspberry Pi as like the device you do your live coding on or something. So I'm interested to experiment with that and see what we can do with this KVM module. So the reading I've done of the spec sheet, I don't think there's any funky hardware in here. I think it should just work. I think the HDMI in will show up as like a UVC webcam. So it should just work in OBS. So I'm very interested to actually hook this up as like a streaming PC and look at, can we do hardware accelerated encoding on what is the QuickSync implementation. That's the branding, but in Linux that's exposed over VA API through FFmpeg. So I think all of that, and also interestingly there's some patches in what will become OBS 27.2 for Linux, which improve the naming of those VA API devices. So at the moment you get this rather crude device path, and you just have to know which renderer is connected to which GPU stroke CPU. But in 27.2 it correctly identifies those accelerated options and which device or chip they're associated with, and you get a nice neat string to work with. So I'm very interested in having a play with these bits and pieces here. So, thanks, Takov. So, yeah, that's something I'm very keen to take a look at. Right, our install's done, so let's reboot this, and we'll see if jamming the firmware over the top works. What do we reckon? What's our success rate gonna look like? I'm feeling 50-50 on this. I think 2004 currently has a 5.11 kernel, I think. Is that right? Does that sound right? I think so, because the point release picks up the hardware enablement stuff. So, right, here we go. So we're logging in again. Displays are obviously a bit offset, so let's... I'm going to need to plug Ethernet in as well as the temporary means to get data on and off this device. So I will take a hard wire and plug that round the back here. There we go. So let's just get that plugged in the back here. It's gigabit Ethernet. There was rumours that this was going to be a faster port than that, but I don't think that it is. I think it's just straight up gigabit. I'm happy to be proven wrong on that though. It's quite possible that my ancient switch here is not up to the job. Right, so let's do that. We should now have Ethernet. We do. Let's untwiddle the displays. So let's just get those in the right orientation. Apply that system wide because we're pretty sure that's going to be fine. Okay. We'll just apply it now. Keep this configuration. And close that. Right. And then over on the other screen here, I will just hit the send the telemetry button. Score 1 for the good guys. Another Ubuntu MATE machine goes into the metrics database. Right, let's think. We want to bring up a terminal and drag that over here. Right, let's zoom in a bit. What? Oh, Firefox add-ons, okay. So, let's minus it. Oh, there we go. We've done that thing again. IWL. Let's just do. Was it TY? It was. That was the collection that we were looking at. So what have we got? Interesting. Which one did I copy off then? So that's NV non-volatile RAM. That's there. Was it 66 that we copied? Let's go and find out. I can't remember. Let's do this. I suppose there's a couple of things I should do. I think the first thing I should do is actually update and make sure that there isn't a newer kernel and firmware that maybe resolves this. So let's actually do that to start with. You never know, we might get lucky. Okay. So Takov asks cancel that. There we go. Hopefully that will work. So Takov asks, do you have any idea how to enable PCI pass-through on QuickMU to make it easy to use? Interesting, you should ask. So if I go here, I can bring up this here. You will notice in my home directory I have a shell script called IO MMU groups. And that's enough of a hint to say that I've been working on solving that problem. And my answer to your question is, I think we can get close. I think we can get close. And in fact, this device could play a role in that, because this has got Thunderbolt enabled, and a Thunderbolt enabled port. So I'm thinking I'll drag down my Razer core with a GPU in it, and we'll see if I can get it to work with this to do, because what I want to do is write a script that does the enumeration and testing, and just say I've detected that these configuration changes need to be made. And one of the tests is, well, have you got a discrete GPU in an IOMMU group that it is sufficiently isolated that you don't clatter, you know, because sometimes you'll get multiple GPUs and they'll be in the same IOMMU group, and you can't, that would be an incompatible configuration. So I have found a way to enumerate the system and say these are the IOMMU groups and these are the devices that are in there. It needs to be expanded to say now just filter that to the GPUs, for example. Eventually you might want to expand that because some people want to pass through discrete USB audio as well. But I'm thinking most of the GPUs have HDMI audio, so that should be sufficient. So yeah, I've been thinking about it and I've done a little bit of homework. We'll get to that soon, I think. Thank you for the question, though. It's a good question. Yeah, and I saw what you shared in the in our Discord regarding, you know, potential ways forward with libvirt. Yeah, and our Discord, for anyone that's watching, following along, if you want to join a bunch of Linux enthusiasts and users and developers and just interested parties, then come and join wimpysworld.io/discord. So let's take a look. Right, so that update's done. So let's just reboot. I'm going to do that unceremoniously so you can see what I'm doing. I won't do it the correct way, we'll do it the wrong way. So that's done a kernel upgrade. Let's see if that happened to pull in any kernel or firmware updates that might enable Wi-Fi. And oh, I suppose I should have it on that screen at the moment whilst it's coming up. Okay, log in. There we go. Let's go to the capture display. So let's just have a look. Sorry, I need to do this. Let's have a look in here. So I've just looked in the wireless indicator and there's no wireless networks detected. So we will bring this screen over here. We'll make that big. We'll zoom it in and we'll SCP IW star. Where is that key? There. Oh, that's the wrong thing entirely. Not in there. 192. Right. Colon there. Where's... oh, there it is. There we go. Let's just bring that over here. Oh, what have I done there? Oh, Martin. Silly boy. So, what was that then? That's curious. I don't know what that was. I'm not seeing anything in the activity feed. I'm going to have to speak to Dust about these random alerts. Right, there we go. Let's try that. Okay, let's... good. Right, so now let's remind ourselves what was in user lib firmware. IW, and it was TY, I think, wasn't it? Yes. So curiously, that firmware does exist in here. But on 2110 there was a 66 as well. Well, let's just do a quick, are they the same? Let's do this. And see how that compares to the one that we have here. No, not that one, but that one. They are identical. So I'm going to say I'm wrong about that. And maybe it's not 63. Maybe it was 66. Let's try and fudge this, because this could also work. So let's try this. User lib firmware. In fact, if I just bring, I'm just going to go over to my actual local machine, which is running the same kernel as, well, it's running 2110. So let's just take a look here, and I could have saved myself some time actually thinking about it, couldn't I? User lib firmware. So I think we will do this. We'll do a quick, I'm just going to let's think. Come on, brain. I'm just going to apt install on the GPD SSH. And then I'll have a look at what its IP address is, and I'm going to copy over all of those firmware files to the GPD. I am thinking, I'm making it up as I go along now, Paul. So this machine is 2.110. Okay, so that's probably going to need to Ucode to I think that's gonna, yeah, I thought so. Let's just clear that out because we've obviously reinstalled since we did that, so get rid of that, and that should do it. So let's do that, and then we'll come back here and we'll do this somewhat if we're gonna cowboy this, we'll do it somewhat responsibly. So let's take a look. Come over here with this trackpad. So we'll copy over. Actually, which ones are on the device? Oh, I'm looking. The temptation to use the mouse is too much. So we've got 59 and 63 on the device currently. So we'll copy over 62 first. This one. To user lib firmware. Like so. And we'll reboot. And we'll then see if that works, and if it doesn't, we'll copy the other one over that was not present on this, and then we'll see if one of these comes up or not.
Thank you for the follow, Konakemi.
thank you very much for the follow. Welcome to the stream. I'm just looking at my alerts, realizing that they don't say the right thing, so I think we'll go and fix that. 875. Let's go and make that work properly. There we go. There we go. Right then, so we'll log back in and let's have a look at the Wi-Fi, which you can't see. I don't see wireless stuff showing up in the list there, so we'll now do the copy over the next one. There we go. So I think the next one was 66. So we'll copy over 66. And I think what we should be able to see is if we do sudo dmessage, we should be able to see it failing to bring up the Wi-Fi. Oh, where's that then? There it is up there. Let's think. IWL Wi-Fi. Here we go. Oh, so it detected it. And here we go. Timeout waiting for the... Oh, so maybe it's just that. So that's interesting. Look. And maybe it is that other file we need to copy over. Well, anyway, we will see. Order 66. What do you mean order 66, Takov? I'm not sure I follow. So we'll reboot because we've copied it over. And if this doesn't work, then we'll copy over that NVRAM Star Wars reference. So I've been watching the Book of Boba Fett on Disney Plus. No spoilers, but it's excellent. I'm really enjoying that. In fact, I enjoyed it so much that after I'd watched the 3 episodes that are out so far, I was feeling aggrieved for not having more to watch. So I have rewatched The Mandalorian seasons 1 and 2. Right then, let's see if I've got Wi-Fi. No, I don't have Wi-Fi. So let's now do this. We'll just make that bigger. Oh, Linux Paul, you've never watched any Star Wars stuff. Well, I will say I think you could enjoy, for the most part, things like The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett without having, invested any effort in watching any other Star Wars stuff. It can help a little bit, but it's not mandatory at all. So let's do this then. Sudo scp iwl that, and copy it over the top of user lib firmware. Oh, come on. There we go. Not SCP. We don't mean SCP. There we go. Let's do that. Oh, goodness. Typos galore today, isn't it? Right. Let's do that. And we'll reboot one last time and see. That's a bit of the brute force approach. If this works, I will have to probably go through that in slow time and work out, was it just the PNVM file, or is it a combination of that and some microcode? But let's see what we get here. Linux Paul has been watching the Hairy Bikers. Are they still doing their stuff? I didn't know they were still around. Oh, well, Yannick, Baby Yoda, it's not Yoda. Anyway, The Mandalorian's better than anything that Star Trek have ever produced. It's amazing. I wait for the remarks now. Right, well, that hasn't brought up the Wi-Fi at all, so my idea is completely wrong. So that's interesting. I'm going to have to go away and think about that a bit more. Whilst I've got this device here and it's installed, though, if I just remove the USB drive, which I do not need, let's do this. Let's go to the overhead view. So none of that worked. I can't shoehorn in newer firmware. There's clearly a relationship between the kernel and the firmware for that to work, which is not what I was expecting. But I'm going to close the lid on this and see if this version of the kernel can do suspend resume or not. I don't think it's going to, but I think this patch may be in the proposed pocket. So we'll reopen, and there we go. We are excellently demonstrating the problem. Now what's curious is that I think the device should come back. Nope, not even a little bit. No, okay, so I thought maybe I might be able to get it back on the capture ports, but I can't even bring it back there either. So I suppose what we can do is just hard shut down the device, which is, you know, long press the power button until all the lights go out, like so. We'll bring that back up. We'll put the little workaround in place and just make sure that's working correctly on 2004 as well. But I think that I'm going to drop in then as a particular tweak for this device until I see the kernel fixes land. So if we go over here, start up the terminal. In fact, let's do this a different way. This won't take but a minute. Let's using the right screen. There we go. So this is kernel parameter to change the way the sleep works. So what we'll do is drop that in to the kernel flags for this device only, and I started to separate this out yesterday, so we can do this now. We'll take all of that like so, drop that in there, and then drop this here and add these things. Now technically I don't think that is actually required anymore, so we can get rid of those lines, but then add that specifically for this device. Like so. So now when we build a new image for the GPD Pocket 3, which I will do now, we'll build a 2110 image, and that should have the required... Hello? Oh, I'm in the wrong directory, of course, now. There we go. we'll do that, and this should produce an image for 2110 that has the requisite fixes in place. So we should then be able to boot and install that image and close the lid, and it shouldn't fall over. And in fact, that should work on the live media, so we could just test this quite quickly. So as Yannick finished complaining about my assertion that Star Wars is greater than Star Trek. Yannick has declined to comment. Well, you're such a troll, Yannick. I thought I'd you know, dish out some of your own medicine. All in jest, of course. Right then, so that is nearly done, the Squash FS. So I do have, yeah, I suppose I should try and fix the thing. I'll do that later. I'm not going to do that now. So that was a little bit disappointing, but okay, that's fine. We'll just stick with 2110 and we'll track that kernel bug a bit more closely, and maybe I'll speak to my friendly local kernel maintainer in the Ubuntu project and ask if that patch is going to make its way in or not. So let's go and get rid of that, and this is the new image that we've just generated, so we'll open that with the image writer. So here's the GTX. So, you know, I was talking about the performance of these drives. This is there we go. This is you know, why I like them, because this is a 3.5 gig image. It just makes working with large images so much nicer. So Luke says that he's never been interested in the GPDs, but the Pocket 3 seems the most intriguing so far. So I think I agree somewhat with you there, Luke. I think of the purely laptop style devices, this one I like the most for sure. There's a lot of things I like about this, not least the fact that the keyboard's decent, the trackpad implementation is good, the screen is good, the screen resolution is sensible because it's 1920 by 1200. I think the Pocket, the P2 Max, which I really like, but it's got a 2560 by 1200 display, which is impressive, but in a 9-inch form factor is a bit unnecessary. So of the sort of purely laptop style devices, yes, I think this is my favourite. But I really like the gaming orientated ones. Anyway, if anyone's interested in looking at the GPDs, I think I have all of them. I don't have every generation of all of them, like they haven't sent me the revised WinMax for the 2021 with the AMD stuff, for example. But I do have one of everything, and I'm going to go through each of them and revise their images using this tool and improve this tool as we go. So I'll drag each of them out. I don't know if I'll do 1 per stream or 2 per stream, but over this week it will be GPD week basically. We'll get all of that work done, everything updated on the Ubuntu MATE website, all of the images refreshed, and, you know, end of week everything should be supported with a current image. So Luke goes on to say that they could genuinely use the P3 for work travel. Yeah, absolutely. I think you could. You know, yeah. So bring a keyboard and mouse with it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think so. And what I like about this is I can see me keeping this one out all the time. I think I mentioned, you know, aside from Raspberry Pi stuff, I've got my Commodore 64, my home-built Commodore 64. And my FPGA Commodore 64, which I'll be working on here at some point. When I work on those, I have to drag out, you know, keyboards and displays and various other things, and it's a bit of a mess. I have to put a load of stuff over there, but now I can just connect the board to this over the or at least I hope. This is my aspiration. Connect the board to the KVM on this, and I can just have the FPGA board hanging off the back of this thing and use the keyboard, trackpad and screen of this to do the configuration. So I can see this being extremely useful for sort of my retro computing projects. So I'm itching to have a go with that. King Egypt says, what's your opinion on kernel 5.15 for the 2204? I was really looking forward to the AMD graphics performance improvement, as we're hoping Canonical's new interest in gaming will push things forward. Well, you say Canonical's new interest in gaming. I think there's a job posting for a product manager who hasn't been hired yet, of course. So, you know, having somebody informed on the inside to, you know, do something like that, that obviously hasn't happened yet. I haven't looked to see whether 5.15 is an LTS kernel or anything like that. We'll have to see. See what happens. There's a few months yet. At this point, it's probably pretty much in stone. There's five. Let's have a look. I did see 5.15, I think, in there. So let's. What are the current versions? 5.16. Okay. And the long term, yeah, so 5.15 is an LTS kernel, so that would be why that's going into this. But you need to remember, in 6 months it'll get a hardware enablement kernel update, and then you'll get a newer kernel. But I understand what you're saying. But you can understand an LTS release with an LTS kernel makes sense. Right, what do I need to do? I need to very quickly reinstall this. So let's plug this in. In fact, we're not even going to do a reinstall. We're just going to very quickly boot off the USB. Just unceremoniously power the thing off. Power down. Come on. It's going to be quicker for me to do this, isn't it? Let's just do that then. Oh, wrong device. Using the wrong mouse on the wrong computer. So let's do that to bring up the boot prompt. So we're just doing this business. So we're booting off the USB. Interesting. This is 2110. So there's curious. Okay, I'm gonna have to tinker around with grub here. So we'll let this boot up, and we'll get it to the point where, let's think about this. I think I'll take it all the way to the desktop, because Ubiquiti DM is not quite what we want. So what I'm doing here is just waiting for, maybe over here actually. Not yet. We'll just wait. There it is. So we'll say try. We'll get into the desktop. That's curious. That's rotated that way on the capture device. How odd. Right then. So here we go. We're at the desktop. We know that there are bugs here without the update, so we just ignore that. And I'm just going to do this. There we go. We'll close the lid. So I'll take one earbud out, because I think what we should notice, I can also remove the Ethernet, but I don't need to put my ear to it. Yeah, so although the lid is down and it's suspended, for example, it doesn't stop the fan completely. So the fan has still got slight power going to it. But if we open this, we should now discover that the screen comes back on. So that is a temporary workaround for the Pocket 3. I'll chase those kernel patches and see how those work out. So a bit disappointed I couldn't wrangle the Wi-Fi firmware, but oh well, never mind. Worst things have happened at sea. Good morning, Dust. Welcome back. Happy New Year to you. How are you? So the screen overlap happens every time the machine boots, a fresh install, because it is just offset by default for some reason. So after each install or boot of an OS that hasn't been configured, you need to just align those displays. I'll look at that at some point, but I don't consider that a big issue to hold up the work on this. I can't remember, Dust, but I think we're at the point 2 weeks in. It's probably the time to stop doing Happy New Year's, maybe. So I think that's I've learnt a few things there, so I'm going to go and chase that kernel patch. I think that's the thing to do. Oh, hello, Blaine. Is that Blaine? Yeah. Thanks very much for stopping by. Am I good at calculus? Only when I have to be. This isn't a maths channel. Right, so where to next? I think the next thing we're going to be doing with this is pulling the modules out the back and plugging that KVM in one. So I'll either do that tonight or tomorrow or Wednesday. Today's pretty packed for me work-wise, so I don't know if I'll be doing it tonight. If I do, it'll be an ad hoc stream this evening. But I think tomorrow morning we can definitely take a look at that. I'm really curious to see what it can do. And if you've got questions about this device or any of the others, I'm interested in hearing those. Yeah, it's time to take the tree down, Dust. Yeah, if you've got questions about these, I will be going through the rest of these devices over the remainder of the week and making sure that they've all got a current image. And I'm just going to tweak some of the configs along the way and try and streamline the process a little bit. But mostly it's just making sure there's a current image for each of them. Right, I'm not going to go channel raiding today because I've got stuff I need to do. I'm already 15 minutes late. Hopefully the shopping hasn't arrived and my wife is downstairs battling with that on her own. So I need to go. Thank you all very much for coming, and I'll see you next time. So bye-bye for now.